Dear viewers, welcome to another edition of Your Life, Your Money. Recently, fractional commercial real estate is establishing itself as yet another very attractive asset class. In this episode, I'm going to compare fractional commercial real estate against the bank fixed deposit and try to find out is there any merit in you looking at this particular asset class in your financial planning. This is NRA Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandra. Dear viewers, before I get into my argument of finding out whether there is any merit in you investing in fractional commercial real estate, let me first get to the basics. Let me explain to you how does a bank fixed deposit work, how does a fractional commercial real estate work. Let me also look into the pros and cons of investing into each of these asset classes, and then we'll try to make a comparison. Then we'll find out whether retirees can use it, whether some youngsters can use it, under what conditions you can use this fractional commercial real estate. Let us try to take a logical answer for this particular problem. First, the bank FDs. What is a bank FD? A bank FD is you have got certain amount of money, you lend this money to the bank, you keep it in the bank, and bank uses this money for its business purpose, and bank gives you a rate of return. It is a simple question of an individual lending money to an institution. What is a fractional commercial real estate? Fractional commercial real estate can be understood if you understand what is like owning a real estate. Most people own real estate, particularly plots of land, or maybe a flat, or maybe a villa, some kind of a residential real estate. So people know what it means by a real estate. A fractional commercial real estate has two specifics. The specifics are, it's not that you are investing in a rental real estate which is residential in nature, rather it is going to be a commercial property. In case of residential real estate, you could be owning the entire piece of land or entire house or a flat. Whereas in case of a fractional commercial real estate, you own a piece of the whole property. It's not the entire property you are owning. That's the description of the bank fixed deposit and the fractional commercial real estate. For those of you who do not know what fractional commercial real estate is, we have done multiple videos on this particular topic on our channel. There is a playlist exclusively for fractional commercial real estate. You can visit this playlist and you can watch different videos we have produced if you need more information on that. Likewise, I'll be giving in the card section here as well as in the description box below the major videos or the important videos we have done on this subject. Do check out on them and know more about the fractional commercial real estate. Now let us look at a bank FD compared against the investing in fractional commercial real estate. Let's look at the merits and demerits of each one of these things. First is the bank FD. Let's look at what are the advantages of putting money in the bank fixed deposit. Bank fixed deposits does not require any introduction. Every person knows about it. Every street corner there is one or the other bank. Every person uses bank fixed deposit. There is no need to educate anyone on keeping money in a bank fixed deposit. The bank fixed deposits are generally and by and large are very safe instruments. It's very unlikely that the bank FDs will go bad unless you keep money in a bad bank, or you keep money in a cooperative bank, or you keep money in a weak bank, a small bank which is in a township kind of thing. Otherwise, if you are keeping your money in the large bank, your money is pretty safe in a bank. And the bank fixed deposit, the banks and the institutions are well regulated by Reserve Bank of India. So it's very safe to say that your money is quite safe in a bank. Likewise, whenever you need money, the fixed deposit that you have kept in the bank is 100% liquid. You can either completely close it, or you can break it, or you can take only the interest. You can use this money as you want, or the banks will be too happy to give you an overdraft as well. So the advantages of bank FDs are quite huge. That's why it's very popular. Many people do not know what are the negatives of the bank FD. If you listen to the negatives of the bank FD, you will think twice, should I keep my money in a bank fixed deposit or not? Let's look at what are the negatives of bank fixed deposit one by one. The first negative of a bank fixed deposit is you are lending money to an institution. Now, if you have to lend money to a friend, you think. If you have to lend money to some unknown persons, you will always think. But when you lend money to a bank, you will not think. So you are lending money, and the bank uses it as its own money, lends money to another business, and the ability of the bank to return this money back to you depends on how healthy the bank's business is. So, in contract, you are lending money to the bank, and the bank's ability to return this money back to you depends on its ability to conduct this business in an efficient way. The bank deposits have got one major disadvantage, or one major disadvantage not many people have thought about. The biggest disadvantage of a bank fixed deposit is it has a reinvestment risk. A reinvestment risk is you have put money in the bank, you have booked this FD for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever could be the tenure as per your requirement. When you move out of that contract, when the FD matures, and if you have to rebook the FD, you have to rebook it at the prevailing interest rate. If the interest rate at that point of time is higher than this, you are at an advantageous position. On the contrary, if the interest rate is lower than the current interest rate, then you stand to get a lesser cash flow when you reinvest your money. In a developing economy like India, it's obvious that the future interest rate will be much lower than the interest rate which are prevailing today. Today, we have an interest scenario which is almost at the peak of interest rate cycle. It's quite clearly known to everyone today that the interest rates are going to be much lower than what it is today in the future. So reinvestment risk is the biggest drawback of bank fixed deposit. Bank fixed deposits have got other problems as well. The problem is, as long as you don't collect your interest back, allow the interest to accumulate in an FD, the principal keeps increasing by way of compounding. But that cannot be said for everyone. If you are a retired person, probably you need the income coming from the interest, and you keep drawing the interest. In such a case, the principal remains the same. So when the principal remains the same, year after year, it will go through an erosion of purchase power. It's just not the principal amount. Even the interest what you get, let's say that you have booked an FD for 10 years and you get a fixed amount of interest, and that interest will not change over that period of 10 years or 5 years, whatever the tenure you have booked. Now what happens? The prices keep rising. The cash flow you get remains same. The prices keep rising. So the cash flow you get from a bank fixed deposit, as well as the principal that you have kept in the bank fixed deposit, will go through an erosion of purchase power without any doubt. One another thing many people do not know is, if you are a taxpayer, make no mistake, the bank fixed deposit will erode your wealth. In a normal situation, banks are supposed to give you at least 1% over and above the inflation rate as the interest rate which is applicable. While this can be said to be true in most circumstances, but you can't say for 100% sure that the bank fixed deposit rates are higher than the inflation. I can quote from the history book where the bank FD rates have remained below the inflation period. You can just check the period between 2010 and 2014. You will be shell shocked to see the FDs were giving a rate of interest which is less than the inflation rate. What if you are a taxpayer? You get a small amount of interest as a yield because of this FD, and over and above this low yield, you have to shell down the income tax, which means to say, post tax, FDs will no doubt erode your wealth. That's the problem of fixed deposit. For a retired person who is retiring at 60 and live up to 80, 85 years, FDs will invariably add stability to his finance. But make no mistake, it will erode his wealth year after year. Now let us look at the pros and cons of investing in fractional commercial real estate. Contrary to the bank FD, where you are lending money to a bank, in case of fractional commercial real estate, you own a piece of commercial real estate. You are not lending money, rather, in exchange of the money, you are owning a piece of commercial real estate. As the name implies, it is a fraction of the total asset size that you are holding. The yields from the fractional commercial real estate surprisingly are much higher than the residential real estate, and it's much higher than the fixed deposit rates itself. The residential real estate today in India gives you around 2 to 3% as the rental yield. You put a crore of rupee, you get about annually about 2 lakh or 3 lakh rupees as the rentals. Commercial real estate on the other side gives you a rental yield of 8 to 9% per annum, which is far higher than the residential real estate, which is far higher than the current FD rate of 6 to 7%. That's not the only thing. The fractional real estate, the rentals receipts you get are inflation proof. What it means is, year after year, the rental real estate yields will not remain at 8 to 9%. There is a rental escalation clause which gets built into at the time of buying into this fractional real estate. The rental escalation will be approximately around 5% per year, or about 12 to 15% every 3 years, which means you are getting 8 to 9% in the beginning, but that increases approximately by 5% every year. So this escalation in rentals will work as inflation proofing of the monies that you have invested. What happens to the asset price? The asset price, when the rents increase, it's automatic that the asset price will also increase. Let's say that you bought a property today for 25 lakhs. The rents increase by 5%. Obviously, the asset price will also go up by 5%, and you can sell it for a higher value whenever you decide to sell. So compared to a bank FD, where if you withdraw the interest, the principal remains the same, here you can enjoy the yield as well as the capital that you have invested can also keep growing on that. What is the other advantages? The other advantage is, now in case of fractional commercial real estate, let's say that you have to put a crore of rupee as an investment. You don't have to put all the money into one single property. The biggest advantage of fractional commercial real estate is you can diversify your exposure into different properties. It's just not into different properties that you can diversify. You can diversify in many ways. Let me explain here. You can buy a fractional commercial real estate in different geographies. You could be buying one in Jaipur, one in Mumbai, one in Pune, one in Bengaluru, Chennai, Hyderabad, or Cochin, or any of these places. You can also choose the type of asset. See, the fractional commercial real estate involves different types of properties. You could be buying into a warehouse, you could be buying into a corporate office, you could be buying into a hospital, you could be buying into a shopping mall, data center, IT parks, business hotels. You can diversify your exposure into different types of asset classes. Likewise, if you are owning physical real estate, you have a risk of a tenant. Let's say you own a 3 crore worth property and you have a tenant, and the tenant turns out to be a bad tenant and he can mess up your life. Here, because you can buy different properties, the tenant profile can also be spread across different companies. One of the biggest advantages of a fractional commercial real estate is your tenant is not an individual. Your tenant is a company. Companies like Havel, companies like Puma, companies like Decathlon, companies like Atlas Copco. The major corporates themselves could be your tenant. So when tenants are corporates, their due diligence is better. They pay on time. They maintain the properties on very well. So this all adds to value as well as the capital appreciation that happens in these properties. Another advantage of fractional commercial real estate is, unlike the residential real estate, what you talk about, you don't have to physically own it. You don't need to keep the entire asset with you. You have to maintain, find a tenant. Here, it has an institutional setup. The fractional commercial real estate is owned by a special purpose vehicle, which is nothing but a company, and you own the shares of the debentures of these companies. And this professional management will take care of maintenance, finding a tenant, collecting rent, and everything is completely institutionalized in case of fractional real estate. You don't need to do anything. Let's say you are a retired person and you own a fractional commercial real estate, and if you are becoming weak year after year, you can't go and find a tenant or maintain the property, paint it, and you have trouble find the lawyers. Everything is done at a professional level. That's the advantage of fractional real estate. Yet another advantage of fractional commercial real estate is, if you are owning multiple properties and you need cash, you don't have to sell all of them together. You can sell one portion. Let's say that you have invested 1 crore in a fractional commercial real estate, but spread it across 4 different properties, and you need money. You can sell only one and you can still keep the remaining 3. That will make sure that you have a good cash flow. At the same time, you can have a lump sum which is coming out for whatever purpose you need. You can monetize your asset after a few years. Let's say that you bought a fractional commercial real estate today, and let's assume that it is growing in 5% capital appreciation even after getting the rent. Maybe 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, or 10 years. You can sell this and monetize your gains in the capital appreciation and use it for whatever purpose you want. That's the advantage of fractional commercial real estate. I told you a lot of good things about fractional commercial real estate. Am I hiding something which is not good? My argument will be incomplete if I don't tell you the negatives of fractional commercial real estate. Let's look at them one by one. The negatives in a fractional commercial real estate are far lesser. The biggest negative, as I can see today, is that there is no regulation around this. This is a new asset class, it is a developing asset class. Right now, there is no regulation. Neither RBI, SEBI, or RERA regulates fractional commercial real estate. In fact, the special purpose vehicle which owns these assets is regulated by the Companies Act, the companies which gets formed. But the good news is that SEBI is working on bringing a regulation. Discussions are going on. Hopefully, in the coming years, we will see a regulation which is coming into the fractional commercial real estate, which makes it much more safe way of investing into it. The cash flow you get from that, the rentals you get, will be treated as your income of the year. That means 100% income, what you get year after year, is a taxable income. When you sell this property in future, the capital appreciation that you get is again taxed as per the Capital Gains Act. The properties by nature have certain risks. The general risks of economy, not having a tenant, going through a dry period, all these things are built into a fractional commercial real estate as well. Let's say that you bought a business hotel and the businesses are not doing well, occupancy rates have come down, the rents can fall down in such a circumstance. Likewise, tenant may suddenly move out. In such a case, till the next tenant is found, you may go through a dry spell. The same thing happens if you are owning a residential premises. A similar thing you can expect. You may not have a tenant. Of course, the professional help will take care of it. They'll find a tenant. These are not small properties. These kind of properties are always in great demand. It will not happen, but you must keep at the back of your mind, these risks also coexist with all the good things of fractional commercial real estate. Now that I have told you and compared a fixed deposit versus fractional commercial real estate, as a financial guide, what do I think about it? Who can use it? How should we use it? What are the things that we have to keep in mind before we use this? First of all, as a financial guide, I feel there is tremendous opportunity around fractional real estate. It is in its infancy, very difficult to get allotments for you. I will add one word here. When I talk about fractional commercial real estate, I refer to fractional commercial real estate which is already built, which is pre-leased, which is ready to use. So it is not another terminology to fund the developers the money before they finish up the property. That's not what I mean to say. The asset class what I'm talking to you is a ready to move in or pre-leased, or the rents which are going to start immediately after you invest into it. That is the property I'm going to talk to you about. So when you buy into a real estate, if at all if you buy, you should make sure, don't get carried away by the terminology of fractional real estate. Find out whether it is real estate in residential premises or commercial premises, or is there a time lag from the time you invest till you start getting your rents. All the things that I have told you till now is only about the commercial real estate, which are completed properties, which are already pre-leased, and the rents will start immediately after you buy into these properties. So see this with difference. So tomorrow you come across some advertisement and don't go by my video and think that everything is fine. There is a lot of role for the advisors help in this particular activity, and you need to be guided by your financial planner or your financial guide while you choose and invest in fractional commercial real estate. Now, the crucial question: who can use it and how they can use it, and what are the precautions that should go into it? First question: can a retirees invest in fractional commercial real estate? My answer to that question is yes. The biggest problem of retirees is, from where will I get the cash flow? How will I remain afloat when the inflation picks up? The fractional commercial real estate is inflation proof. It does not require your day to day maintenance, it does not require your physical presence to own it. You don't have to go and maintain, you don't have to go and fight with a tenant, nothing is required. So, if you are having a certain amount of retirement corpus, a portion of that money can definitely be parked into fractional commercial real estate. Make sure that you diversify your exposure. What I mean to say is, don't put all that money only into fractional commercial real estate. If you have comfort of a bank fixed deposit, I will say at least 60% of your money be in the bank fixed deposit. Maybe 20 to 40% of your retirement corpus can be parked in the fractional commercial real estate. Even while parking in the fractional commercial real estate, number one, take the help of an advisor. It has to be evaluated, due diligence has to be done. There should be conviction in the whole story. Likewise, if the amounts of money what you have as a retirement corpus is higher, you should diversify your exposure. Don't put more than 25 lakh into each property. In fact, the fractional commercial real estate starts with 25 lakh. Let's say that you have a retirement corpus of 3 crores and you earmark 1 crore for fractional commercial real estate. It makes sense for you to buy 4 different properties, each with a 25 lakh exposure. Make sure you buy it in different geographies, different type of asset class, and different types of tenant. That works in your favor. It gives you sustained income, it gives you inflation beating return, it helps you to retain the capital appreciation, and at point of time in future you can liquidate these properties one by one as you want, and you can control everything with a click of the button. You don't have to go to a registrar office to sell this property. You don't have to go and find a buyer for this. Generally, the platforms themselves have a facility on their platform where you can express your interest to sell this, and there are buyers all the time. So that is good. So this is with respect to retirees. What about other people, youngsters, somebody who is in 30s, 35, 40 years of age? Again, retirees want a good cash flow which is inflation proof. What does the younger generation people need? They need two things. One, they could be looking at building a good second income, and fractional commercial real estate correctly answers to this question. It can generate a good second income. You can build a portfolio of fractional commercial real estate, and you can over the years develop a good second income. Likewise, being youngsters, you are also looking at building wealth. As I said, the fractional commercial real estate will also go through a capital appreciation because of inflation, because of rise in rental. So it serves both purpose of creating the wealth as well as building a good second income. I don't need a second income, so what shall I do with the income that I get from the fractional commercial real estate? Simple answer is invest in it. The rents what you get, maybe you invest in other asset classes, maybe the mutual fund, maybe the stock, maybe the FDs, whatever the asset class you are comfortable with. If you don't need that second income today, you reinvest this money in the other asset classes. So it answers to the question of both retirees, people who are about to retire, and people who are in the younger bracket. It serves each and everyone. As long as you maintain exposure control, as long as you are guided well by your advisors, as long as you do your good due diligence around the properties, you should not be worrying about this particular asset class. It's time you open up your eyes, see this asset class as a good means of investment. By the way, we are also associated with the biggest players in the fractional commercial real estate, Strata in India. We have tied up with him, and in fact, a lot of our clients have already invested in the different commercial properties. The client profiles include companies like Havels, Puma, Atlas Copco, and many other companies. If you're also the person who is looking out for an opportunity to invest in fractional commercial real estate, you can make best use of services provided by NRI Money Clinic. We do our due diligence, we get you the best properties, we get you the allotment. Right now, the biggest problem of fractional commercial real estate is it is in its infancy. Supplies is not much. It's very difficult to get an allotment. And we, for our clients, will try to get you the best properties and get you an allotment as soon as possible. Make best use of it. If you have an interest, you can reach to